This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Violand Management Associates. Are you looking to grow sales and increase profits, implement scalable business systems and procedures, get paid faster, or build your business to run efficiently without being overly dependent on you? Violand Management is Restoration's leading source for business coaching and professional training. Call 800-360-3513 for a free consultation or visit violand.com to learn more. Violand, developing people and profits. Hey there, restorers. Thanks for checking out a fresh episode of the Restoration Today podcast. I am excited to be joined by two friends who we have spent the last a half an hour chatting and laughing offline prior to hitting record, and have now had to hit record a couple times to really get this off the ground. So here's hoping that we really get it going this time. I think we will. I am very excited to be joined by two dear friends and rock stars in the industry. I'm joined by Diane Goheen, who is the VP of Marketing for Core, and Beth Thompson, who's the VP of Events also for Core. We are here to talk about The Collective, which is one of my favorite events of the year and super fun. You guys do it different than anybody else does. You both know exactly what you're doing in this space and what makes restorers tick, what gets them excited when it comes to content and all the fun stuff. There's big fun stuff happening this year, which I won't give away. I'll let you guys give away. So thank you both for joining me. I am going to toss it over, I think, to Diane first to have you introduce yourself and also share a little bit about what Core is for anybody who's listening who might not know.
Sure. So I am Diane Goheen, VP of Marketing over at Core Group. So Core, basically what we are is we are a membership program. We like to constantly refer to ourselves as the country club of contractors. So it is a membership program. We bring on independent restorers specifically, and we just make them part of something bigger. We want to make sure that they, have the resources within the membership. We make sure that they look at each other as a community, not competitors. We try to bring them. We do, as we will talk about today, The Collective, which is one of our biggest annual conferences of the year. And then we also do a marketing and sales summit, as well as an operations summit and Owners Day, where we gather all of our members together to basically work together, collaborate, share resources, share strategies, just be able to come together and, really work together. And that basically translates kind of all the way into cat season, which is just right around the corner, next week starting. They're very valuable in those moments where we have cat events. Sorry, like flipping up a little bit. In the event of a cat event, basically what we do is, we have them, we mobilize, we help them, come together. They're able to send resources. If they're not mobilizing themselves, they can come out there as well. So we also, have a managed repair program. That's just one part of our network. And basically what we do with that, we do offer claims, but we work with high net worth carriers and commercial clients only. So, we're not doing the mid-tier, mid-market, lower market claims, things like that. But then we also have a Core Perks buying program, which is one of the industry's best buying programs around, national pricing. So we're able to get really great pricing for them on basically any equipment, supplies, even golf balls. We have a company that, sells golf balls that we can get, we know all of our contractors love golf. So, those are really good things. And then we also help with marketing support, IT support, operational efficiency. So it's, a lot of people look at our managed repair side of the business and think that's what it's all about, but it's really not. It's just a part about being something bigger and keeping those independent restorers independent, and just bringing them together to work together, to collaborate and help the industry.
Perfect. Okay, Beth, go ahead and introduce yourself. This is, I think, your second year, right, with Core, but you're not new to the events space, so you definitely know what you're doing and know how to create big, awesome, exciting events. So go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background.
Yes, thank you so much for having us today, Michelle. As she said, I'm Beth Thompson, VP of Events at Core. I've been in this industry almost 10 years, actually a little over 10 years now. And love being a part of Core and what we're building there, and really think Collective is just an exciting time for everybody in our industry. We're excited about everybody who will come and be a part of it. I think what makes it unique is we really think about all the players in our ecosystem and really try to add value and create value for each role. As Diane said, CORE is a member network of restoration contractors, and we really are pushing this year, really focusing. I wouldn't say pushing. I would say the focus is on the power of community and the power of a tribe, and what that looks like in the world, and the way it changes from generation to generation, and what are things that are of substance that remains. And one thing that's been interesting to me is the power of community, the power of working on things together. And that's really the heart of what CORE is bringing people together to create good change and to make good progress. And so we're really excited. We have lots of fun things up our sleeve per usual. So we're
okay.
pumped.
Can anybody come to the collective? You talked about being a membership program. So is this open to anybody, or is it invite only? What does this look like?
So it is open to anybody. There is different pricing models, but there is a member pricing and then a non-member pricing. But it is open to everyone. We will have vendors that are there. We will have contractors that are there, and we will also have content geared to carriers, and also some meet and greets and some other opportunities there. So yes, we are open to everyone in the industry.
What would you say makes the collective different from other events? Like we'll dive into more of the specifics of education and the networking and stuff, so you can tease some of that right now if you want. But what makes this event different from, we're kind of in the middle of event season as we're recording this, right, in May and early June. There's a lot going on right now. You guys have picked a great time of year, as long as there's not a big hurricane, but you're early, so that should be okay. August 30th through September 1st, so right before Labor Day, earlier in the fall. So what sets the collective apart?
So I think one of the big pieces of that is that we do bring in our carrier partners. I think a lot of these conferences obviously do the same, but you rarely get time with them because you have these huge conferences, where just everyone's pulling at them in every direction and they're being swooped away, to kind of get private areas or things like that. But the way we've talked to them and worked with them, they want to be part of the community that we are bringing to CORE. They want to talk to our contractors. They want our contractors to know their expectations. They're open to Q&As all the time. They do, like she said, meet and greets. So I think that's something very special in our space, is that, our carriers do want to know our contractors, so they know who they're working with. They know, they can tell them, what their expectations are, what they're looking for, and vice versa. The contractors can actually meet with them one-on-one, just in person, and just have a casual conversation or a cocktail in the lobby, and just have that conversation, which is really nice. We don't try to pull them in different directions. They sit in our sessions. We've had feedback from them in past years where they tell us how great our sessions are, what the content has been so informative for them on the carrier side versus seeing it from a contractor side. So I think that's something that's really special in what we do every year for that.
Perfect. Okay.
I would add to that, that when you asked this question, as I was preparing and just thinking through different things, I love it. That just the thinking through, like, how do I really feel about this question that you presented, which is really a fun exercise for me. But the things that stood out to me were energy. Like, our team's energy is just, we have a very almost palpable energy about our team. We're very excited. We love what we do. We love being together. We love being with people in the industry. We enjoy it. We sincerely just enjoy bringing this immersive experience for people together. And we love to wow people. We love to make them feel like we went the extra mile, and that we thought of them throughout the experience and what would make it valuable and exciting and all those things for them. So I would say energy and just our team. And then just the uniqueness of our, one thing with exhibitors that we do a little bit different that I'll touch on, and we may get back to this in the future of the call a little bit later, but just to note that we really encourage exhibitors to be immersive in the event. A lot of times exhibitors, if you go to an event, you have a couple exhibit hall hours, and that's kind of your involvement. But what we do is we invite people into the parties. We want you to be a part of the sessions. We really invite exhibitors to be fully engaged in the event from morning to evening. And we believe that really puts the ball in the court of the exhibitor, because we're going to create this landscape that's really maximize it to the most of your ability. And we love to create that opportunity. So that I think is something that also sets us apart from some other events.
I can say as a vendor, it does drive me crazy that the vendors are rarely participating in the sessions and stuff like that. And those are, or even the networking events, you're missing out on huge opportunities as a vendor to connect with potential customers by not doing these things. Yes, totally.
And people that have been in the industry a long time, you know, which is all of us, you really do realize so much of relationships are built outside of, you know, just in the downtime when you're around the table at breakfast, when you're in the bar at night having a drink, when you're at the party at the festival and you have a conversation and it strikes up and you don't realize you have something in common with someone in it. That's really where business begins, because it's comes back to trust and who you work with, and you go, oh, I didn't know about this side of this person. And so I feel like we really work hard to create those opportunities for people to really, you know, build relationships in a deeper way.
Okay, so you mentioned it already, so I'm gonna talk about the festival. What is the festival? I think that this is going to be a super fun part of this year. Then we'll go back to education, but you teased it and we've been talking about networking, so let's stay on that train. So what is the festival?
So the festival is this year's theme, basically. So we're dubbing it as a property restoration and insurance festival. So to go along with that theme, we're actually going to be having live music there. So we will have bands at our party. We'll have DJs, you know, like a true festival experience, but in the conference setting of the restoration and insurance space. We even have a really big special surprise this year. We're going to have live tattoo stations, just like you would see at a festival. So think, you know, Coachella, Burning Man, Electric Daisy Carnival. You know, if you've ever been to a music festival before, you know to what to expect. If you haven't, you're in for a really big treat.
And this as well, like to me, and I'm going to give a little behind the scenes. So anybody that listens to the podcast and hangs in there with us will get some behind the scenes of events. Because oftentimes, you know, people see the excitement of events, the fun, and there's so many things that happen with events. And one thing for us this year is we had a party planned on top by the pool deck. Most people who've attended the past 2 years know we do a big party with this. I mean, we pull out all the stops. We really try to make it a great night. And since we've moved to a new venue, which is JW Marriott, so don't go to the Marriott you've been to the past 2 years, come to the JW Marriott because we're growing and we just needed a bigger space. Well, we ran into issues with not being able to fit the capacity that we're going to have around the pool area. And so we were in this place of, oh my goodness, you know, that's something that's such a big deal to our event. So we ran into this roadblock and literally walked out of the door of the JW, and there's a fairground, a fun Austin festival fairground. And I thought, of all things to walk straight into, it is the coolest venue with the hillside that will have logo blankets laid out for people to sit and enjoy the music. I mean, it's staging. There's going to be different cuisines. There's like a food hall type area. So we'll be able to have different cuisines. It's as if we walked into what we would dream it could be to go with the festival theme. So it just really, things like that happen. And it's, you know, at first it's like, oh no, how are we going to make this happen? And then, you know, you walk outside the door and you're like, are you serious? Like, how did this happen? Because it's more than what we could have even designed, you know, and it's all coming together really, really nicely. We're all very excited. The music festival theme is something that, you know, fits Austin. Diane is, you know, people on our team that live in Austin are very familiar with the music scene. They know how to bring in the best of the best and create this experience for people that aren't from Austin. So it makes it, you know, just a really great experience. So we're super pumped about the festival. We think everybody is going to really have a good time. So we're excited.
I love it. All right. So people bring festival clothes. I mean, if it's going to be outside of the fairgrounds, I mean, dress it up, right? You guys did the white party last year, and I will admit I was skeptical of whether or not you were going to be able to get contractors to show up in full white to your party, and you did. You sure did. Every person at that party was in what I was very
A
proud of
sea
you all.
of white out there. Yeah.
So this has been actually a fun conversation for our team, because we do, people go all in at our parties in these themes, and that makes it so much fun because everybody just really gets in. And then when you think festival, you think, oh wait, there's an appropriateness and a not appropriateness that shows up at festivals. So we definitely want people to wear festival attire. Diane and her team are going to give some examples and send some what were you, Diane? You want to share a little more about that, about the boards to give
Yeah,
people
so every
ideas?
year, that's something we do too. So if you are registered, by the way, if you want to register, it is thecollectivebycore.com/register. So once you register, you're automatically into our system. We put you on a list that goes, we do our email blast, out every so often. And so that's where you get a lot of your contact information, and as well as our socials. So you'll want to follow the socials too to see that information. But what we do is we'll send out a link. So I'm actually going to another event later this month. And I got the idea from there. Is what they did was, hey, we're having this theme party and we want to send you some inspo ideas. So they created a Pinterest board and sent out the link. So we'll be sending out a link. I'll be putting together a Pinterest board, kind of showing men, women, whoever, decides to attend, and showing different outfit inspo festival ideas, so we can shoot that out to everyone and they can get an idea. But then we'll also have little things there, because we know sometimes people kind of shy away from the whole dressing up thing. It's not everybody's jam, so we get that too. So we'll have a few fun little items once you get there to be able to kind of join in on the fun.
Okay, I love it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see the Pinterest board. Okay, so let's talk about education, because I know that one of your hopes is to bring in fresh education. I think we're all a little used to, but seeing the same faces over and over and over again on stages in the industry, right? So I know that you do go above and beyond to try to find good speakers that are fresh with fresh topics. So share a little bit about what's on the agenda for education and kind of your process for finding your speakers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and in all fairness to everybody in the industry that speaks or teaches, this is anybody's challenge. I'm always blown away, Michelle, props to you for always having, I always think when I get CNR, I'm always like, how does she come up with all this stuff? Like, you are a genius at that. So, kudos to you. And when you really start to dig into finding content, you realize what a true challenge it is. So our process is we take call for presentations. Our marketing puts that out. Just basically promotes anybody who wants to present or has something that they want to share, passionate about, educated in, trained in, and they want to share. To submit that. Basically, they give us, information on what that session would look like, how they do it. Is it interactive? Is it, PowerPoint only? How that goes, summary of it. And we sit down around a table and basically dig through and go, okay, is this something that we feel like is a strong need for content in our industry? Is this something that we feel like has been overdone a little bit? Is it something that, we just kind of talk through. We sit around the table and we make piles, and we really try to pull out what is very relevant for right now. What are people dealing with right now? And what will help them in the different roles of the people that we have that are in attendance, what will help them. So we have so much exciting stuff. This is one of the concerns as an event person, is it's like you have so much good stuff and you just want people to hear all of it, but you can't let everybody hear all of it. So people are going to have a challenge to choose on which sessions they attend. But I'll start with kind of the main stage. So the main stage this year, in addition to our panels, now you guys know we always do panels. We love the Battle and Bias panel that Diane heads up every year. That will be something she can give a couple insights to that in just a second. We will have the high net worth carrier roundtable. We have some great people coming to help us with that this year. We have something special planned for AI in the future. That's such a hot topic. So I'm not going to give too much detail on that just yet, but AI in the future will definitely be addressed, as I think we all have kind of excitement and apprehension surrounding that. Then we will as well. I'm very excited that we are bringing on the main stage. I don't know whether we call them Floodlight guys, Head, Heart, and Boots guys, Chris and Brandon. They've go by many names, but I think everyone knows who those guys are, and they are really putting in some time and effort to create an experience from the main stage, the heart of the matter. And it really will be foundational to how we operate as humans and how that affects our jobs and our industry. And I am super pumped about that. And then we'll have another keynote. So we'll have 5 main stage opportunities or sessions. Joey Coleman will be coming in. He's a specialist on employee retention and customer satisfaction. He's super engaging, high energy. And he actually has worked some with Brandon and Chris, so it kind of will all flow together very nicely. And then there's more. There's more. And then we have so many great session speakers that are coming in. And like Michelle, you mentioned, when I reached out to those that we decided, okay, this is where we see our agenda, what works. I reached out and said, look, we are really looking for fresh new content. If we know, let's say, for example, it's an expert in HR, what can you bring to the table that's relevant right now that you have not presented anywhere else? And so we have a lot of content that is never before. We only have content that has not been presented previously. So we have some of those things I jotted down. We have something called the humanity of claims. We have a pure professional that's coming that's going to share that with a colleague. So they're going to kind of go through it from that perspective, from the carrier perspective. We have Power of the Tribe, which I think is something that I've mentioned a few times. That's going to be one of our sessions. Developing the person and employee, insurance and risk management, delivering exceptional claims experience, which is going to be really a white glove service 2.0. So it's kind of elevating it to the next level. And we actually in that one have a contractor, one of our core elite contractors working with one of our claims professionals, and they're going to do that session together. I always love when you give more than one perspective in a session. I feel like it just really adds depth to the value of that. And then large loss and how to get paid. Honestly, if you go on our site, which I think Diane already mentioned, Collective by Core. Oh my gosh, you tell it, Diane.
The collectivebycore.com.
Yes.
Really, really complicated. The collectivebycore.com. Our agenda is already up on there, so you can look on there and see all the topics that we have. We'll be adding the speakers here in the next few weeks. Been collecting all their information, so we'll be getting to promote them here in the coming weeks, as well as some of our exhibitors and sponsors. So we're excited. We are almost sold out. So exhibitors, if you have not gotten your booth, please do so. We are down to 15 booth spaces. So we are very limited on what we have left, but we really want to fill those spots and give people the opportunity to participate with us. So make sure that you reach out to me. Obviously, you can go on any of the sites that we've mentioned or our social media to find links to do that, or always reach out to me, beth.thompson@gowithcore.com, with anything event related. And I'm happy to connect you with the right person or get the answer for you to make sure we can get you there to participate. And I'm so excited that we are offering a $200 off per ticket with the code. Diane, you say it.
Restoration today.
Hey, restoration today. So if you put restoration today in our promo code, when you go to register, you'll get $200 off per ticket. So that's really a good savings for people. And we really want you to be there with us. So make sure you do that.
Restoration today. I love it. No space. Is it all one word? All smushed?
No space. All caps.
Hey,
no space.
I love it. You heard it here. Okay, I want each of you, before we wrap it up, to share a lesson that you've taken away from maybe the 2 prior events going into this year that I know that you really pay attention to the feedback, as do a lot of events, and you really want to improve and make it better each year. So, Diane, let's start with you. What's like a takeaway, something good or bad, a lesson from a prior year that you're taking into 2023 and making it better or improving or whatever that may be?
So overall, from my perspective, this is strictly for me. In previous years, we have always done the Sales and Marketing Summit 2 days prior to the collective. And while, it brings so much value to our contractors being in those, day in, day out to get all those resources, it was a long week. We recognized, quickly in both years that it took a lot of time away from their families, away from work. It's 2 full days, minimal breaks, things like that, because you just have so much to pack in. So what we did this year was split that up, like I mentioned earlier. We did split that up. So now we do that in February, and now we can all just focus on the collective. And it did take us away. So Nick Dyeroff, our executive director of sales, and myself were the ones that would lead that. And it took us away from it, of helping the team, just being part of that setup, any kind of last minute changes that we needed to have. So we were kind of thrown into that. And not to mention, we were a little exhausted by the time we got to the conference. Although the two of us can keep energy going 24/7, 365 days a year. But I think that was probably the biggest takeaway. We had some feedback from some of our contractors, but at the same time, they did really love it. They did really, they loved the fact that they could, be able to have that time to collaborate. And it did make for, at least you just had to do one trip, but it was long, it was a long time. And so for all of us, and I think it's going to be even better this year, having it broken up, because we can focus our full energy on the show and just bringing everything, to everyone that's coming. So
perfect. Yes. I enjoyed going to the Sales and Marketing Summit in February. That was great fun. I got to bring
right.
Okay, yes. Beth, what about you? Lesson or something?
Okay. Yes. So the initial things that came to mind for me were from last year. Anyone who attended knew that we split up into 2 exhibit halls. We had to do that due to size, but we learned that that's not something that we want to do in the future. I think it's too hard to separate, and too many people are in one and not enough in the other. And it's just you really want that collaboration of an exhibit hall all in one place. So we are back to that this year. We're excited about that. We are adding some things in there to continue to help draw people into that. One of those will be the core spa. So I won't give too much insight into that, but there will be a core spa this year in the exhibit hall, which we're real excited about. That's a new addition. And then the other thing I would say that we learned last year, and something that I'm really spending a lot of time working on, and I appreciate people that give the feedback that's not easy to probably share, but some of the sessions that we had pretty low attendance. So what I mean by that is when you offer a lot, some of them may have 50 and some may have 3 or 4. And that's tough. We don't want that. We want each session to be very well attended. So we're looking at how we really set that up to succeed better for us, for the attendees, and for the presenters. So that's something that I think I had a little feedback on last year that I'm really trying to enhance this year, work on, drive people into those sessions. Sometimes I think that's one of the reasons the new content was such a big deal for me is it is hard when someone goes to all these conferences, and a lot of times as a speaker, they that's their thing. They do one topic. So if they've heard of that before, then they might not attend when they're at ours. So I really wanted to challenge just to have something fresh that they could share. Because I think we have some really great educators in this industry, great communicators, and really want them to share and have that opportunity and elevate their platform. Just really want some new things for us to digest. So those are kind of some key things that I think we're focused on this year, and we're excited.
Well, ladies, fabulous. I can't wait to see you in Austin in August. It's the week again before Labor Day. For anybody who's listening, it's August 30th through September 1st. You can register at thecollectivebycore.com. Use Restoration Today for your promo code to save $200 off each ticket, which is a big savings. So thank you guys for offering that. That's fabulous. Diane, really quick, talk about, because I just said you guys, and that had me thinking about convicting myself a little bit. Before we wrap up, share a little bit about the bias panel from last year and what you have in mind for this year, because I think that was something huge and unique last year that I know you're going to draw upon again this year.
Sure. So battling bias last year was basically on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't think it's talked about enough in this industry. No matter what you're looking at, a lot of people go, well, what is that? And it's basically showing bias towards anything. So whether it's a disability, whether it's, sexual orientation, whether it's gender orientation, whatever. There's so many different and thank you for being on it, by the way, last year. You did great, and all the women up there were amazing and got to tell our stories. We got some feedback that were like, well, it looked a little biased by having all women on that panel, but that's kind of the point. It's to make you uncomfortable. It's to show you that, like, these are our stories, and you probably don't want to hear it, but it's the truth and it's our story. So, we want to make sure that you hear that. This year, we're actually doing neurodiversity, so it's the silent disabilities. So actually, Gina Reyes from Openly Insurance and myself will be moderating it together this year. She was super excited about coming on. She's like, I've never been a moderator. I've always been a speaker or a panelist, and I really want to moderate. And I was like, I think that's a great idea. So she'll be there this year. And something a little bit different that we'll be doing with that is we have our general session that we'll be doing on neurodiversity. And for those of you that don't know what that is, again, it's that silent disability. So you're thinking mental health issues, anxiety, ADD in the workplace, things that people are dealing with, a lot of us are dealing with, myself included, every day, that you have to learn how to manage and how to cope and how to keep that at bay. And how do you do that? How do you work through that? And so it's a really interesting thing. PTSD, even we have that we're looking at with a veteran. So, it's going to be something that maybe you don't see as a disability physically, but, it's a silent disability that we really want to bring that focus and attention to. And again, the sessions are about telling your story. How do you cope? Things like that. But the thing that we're doing a little bit different this year is at the end of the day, we're also going to do a workshop. So anyone that goes to that session or doesn't go to the session that just wants to learn more and dive deeper and how to incorporate that and bring that awareness to their organization or their company, we're going to be doing a full workshop at the end of the day too. So you can come in there, learn a little bit about it, dive a little deeper into it, and really kind of get, all of the information that you can. So if you have bigger questions, because I think that was one thing last year that we opened the Q&A and we had so many great questions at the end that we wound up not having enough time for everything. So we got great feedback after we were done. All positive experiences, all positive, feedback from us. And so this year we're like, let's give them a little more. Clearly, that was something that we recognized they wanted. So kind of just diving in a little bit deeper into that is something that we're going to be doing extra this year.
And I love it so much because I think that it's so relevant right now with just the state of our country, the social media, the way everything is out there and people talk and about every topic, and we need to talk about it in our industry. And I think the silent disability thing is near and dear to my heart. And I think that it's something a lot of people deal with, struggle with, and even if they do not, need to be educated and aware because there's so many things people deal with that we never, ever even know about. That when you can look at it through that lens, that you just don't know what someone might be struggling with, it does change the way you treat people and that you view people. So I'm super excited about Diane heading this up and taking us for a ride on this so that we can learn more.
This is a great topic. I am looking forward to it as well. This is the first I've heard about this year's topic. So that is perfect. I can't wait to be there. Ladies, thank you both so much for all that you do for the industry and all of your planning and everything that's going into this. Thank you for your partnership with CNR. I love it. And I appreciate you both. So I look forward to seeing you in August.
And thank you for having us. We appreciate that.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you for having us.
For more Restoration Today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.